in through the wrong way? Should I have went another way?
No, you good. We had to go live through StreamYard connect to YouTube, but that's why I sent you the link so you can go ahead.
Live.
Yeah, we live.
Oh, we live. Yo, what up, fam? Say, it's Friday. We trying something new. We trying to get some different perspectives, some grown-up talk. Y'all in the comment section, y'all hit the like, subscribe, share this content. Get in the comment section. Also, we have a link where you can come on the panel. This show, what we want to do with this is we're going to ask mature adult questions or make statements. And we want to get everybody's perspective of that statement. We might call this, what's your perspective? Or whatever. We don't know what we're going to call it. We're going to give a little time for people to come up on the panel. Thus far, we had Dirty Curdy on the panel. I think he's coming back. And then we got Miss Angie, A-N-G, Miss Ange on the panel tonight. So we're going to give y'all a little time to get in here and check it out. I don't know where Grandmama is at. Hopefully we'll get Sheena on the panel and some different others, Motor Goat and some other people perspectives of this statement. But just to get it started or just to set it up, I'm a research type of person. And before we make the statement or ask the question, I looked up some stuff. And as far as black men, we experience incarceration at roughly 5 times a larger rate than Caucasians, white men. Studies show that 1 in 20 black men is currently incarcerated or will be incarcerated in their lifetime. We make up 37 to 41% of the prison population. We have the most convicted felons. Blacks have the most convicted felons in the United States. We have the highest crime rate in the United States. Now, this could be all Google or whatever. It might not be true, might be true. We have violent crimes committed by the ages of 18 and 34. 47% of the black households are single parents. 47% of the black households are single parents, and then 25% is Hispanic parents. And that study was shown in August 7th of 2024. So the question I want to ask the panel, and we want transparency, we want sincerity with the statement I'm about to make. Let me get the statement together. It is better to build a child than to repair a grown man. What would you get from that? On the panel right now, we got Miss Ange and we got Curtis L. Murray Jr. It is better to build a child than to repair a grown man. Or better yet, we might want to say it's better to build a child than to repair an adult. Don't even put a gender with that.
I've always thought it was better to teach a child as they're growing up, because you can instill values and different things into them that make them grow up with it, instead of waiting until the child gets grown, which I know we all are guilty of our parents telling us something and we not listening, and then going back as a grown person saying, you know what? Lord knows I would have wished when my mama or daddy told me such and such, because I wouldn't be in this predicament that I'm in right now. Or back then, even if I would have listened to my mama and daddy when they told me not to go down the street yesterday, and I end up taking my butt right on down that street yesterday, I wouldn't be in trouble right now. But I had to be grown. And you only get one life, and you only get to be a child one time. If a child would just stay in a child's place, I think oh my goodness, they'll learn so much, or they'll be so thankful when they do get grown, because of how their life will turn out a whole lot better from them just listening. But because they don't know any better, and we all, I'm sure, are guilty of it, because we didn't know any better, because we would have done better when our parents was telling us, but we didn't, because we wanted to be grown. At least that's how I know I was. I wanted to be grown so bad, until when my parents were telling me things, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea what they're talking about. They sitting up here like they haven't been where I've been. But when they would tell me that, I wouldn't listen. I did not want to hear it. All I wanted to do was what I wanted to do. Luckily, thank goodness, I grew up out of that phase. But it still has some things that haunt me till this day. I wish I would have listened, because I still had to take I call them back street paths, instead of being able to take the straight path that if I would have listened to my parents, I would have been able to do. I had to take some or variate, I guess that's the word that I'm trying to use, to some other paths, because I thought I was grown. But anyways, Pastor, that's how I believe. I strongly believe we should, if it's better to instill a child when they're growing up. It's hard to do, but I think that's the best way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, okay. Jupiter says, I found out Black fathers are often the most actively involved in daily physical care and routine activities of their children compared to other races in America. Yes, I believe that, but I think the system is set up for us. Even Google, all of that is set up to make us look as if we're all absent. That's the way I see that, Jupiter. I mean, like I said, a Google, you can Google a lot of who knows if Google's telling the truth. We don't know. We just use it because that's what our society goes off of Google. But however, I do realize that charity begins at home. I believe charity begins with a race of people, meaning love begins with us and then spread abroad. I think we're the most forgiving race. We allow any other race can come in our neighborhoods and have stores, and we go there. And then when it comes to our own race having stores, we'll go in them stores and want discounts or steal from them.
Complain.
We dog each other. Say, for instance, if somebody's selling clothes or something, they want a discount from the brother or the sister that's selling it, or that ain't even real, that's a knockoff. And then we'll turn around and go to the mall, to Dillard's, and spend thousands of dollars on things and brag about that it's being real, where we could have went and supported our own people with that product, if that makes sense. If that's kind of off of the subject, but it is on the subject in a sense, because we're talking about, is it better to build a child than to repair a man? Because if you look at it, children, after they get to a certain age, as the seasoned people say, when they start smelling themselves, they start smelling themselves, it's a done deal anyway. It's a done deal anyway. Really, once a boy gets to an age, a certain age, he's gonna try certain things, especially when he starts smelling himself, as my old man would say. He's gonna be swayed by a female. And after he starts smelling himself, you're basically, all that parenting stuff is done. It's done. A lot of people call it peer pressure. I think I agree with you, Miss Ange. You gotta rear them up, and it starts when they 2 or 3.
Yep.
2 or 3 years old. If you do this, when they 2 or 3, if you stop the spoil temper tantrum right there, you have less crash outs.
Yep.
But
That's
what we do is we spoil them at that age. 3, 4, 5 can come in and tell you what they're gonna eat. When I was that age, I had to eat whatever was on my plate, and I couldn't just get up from the table and not eat the food.
I ain't never told my parents what I wanted to eat unless they asked me, and I was halfway grown, if not grown. Matter of fact, I knew I was grown. I never told my parents when I was coming up what I wasn't going to eat. Lord knows I don't think I would be here today, because they would have knocked me so far off. I would have just been getting back into orbit to come back into the into the world. So I never did nothing like that. But you got kids that do it nowadays.
Yeah.
But it seems like as a society we're so upside down, and it's almost like our esteem as a people is so low that we look up to other races or other ethnical groups. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, man. Transfer. We look up to white people, man. When I was growing up, I played ball with a bunch of white people. I heard them cuss their parents, and I was at awe when I heard it. I was like, "Whoa, you don't
Couldn't
do that."
believe it.
I heard them talking back. I was like, "Whoa, who does that?" But now these the parents of today in the black community, I hear children back talk their mama, back talk their dad, or better yet, most time dad ain't around, but they'll back talk their mama. And I'm like, whoa, we couldn't even do that.
Better not even think about doing it.
Couldn't even think of it. And then if they say no, you go to pouting. Oh, you better shut up before I give you a real reason to cry.
I've heard that plenty of times. Better shut it up before I give you a reason to cry.
Yes. And that right there showed us how to take a no. How to take rejection. Rejection didn't kill our esteem. Yeah, fix your face. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So
Motor Go.
Motor Go, get on this panel.
Home.
Oh, he driving home. Jupiter, you need to log on. You need to get on this panel, Jupiter. I want to get different perspectives, because I'm tired of talking, to be truthful, y'all. But these are issues that's going on in our community. And when you look in the eyes of our young people, especially our young black boys, they have no heart behind it. They don't have backbones. They have wishbones. They don't believe they have to work. They want everything given to them. They
Don't want to
think they
earn
supposed
nothing.
don't want to earn nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And make it so bad, a heterosexual man as me and Kurt, if we say it, they might try to unalive us. Just because we telling them, don't nobody love you like your mama.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get out of that box. You got to learn how to make it out here in this world. You got to be able to go on a job and be able to obey directions and correction.
Right.
And follow rules. Why is it that the only time our black men follow rules and when they go to the penitentiary?
It's when they're incarcerated.
Yeah.
Ain't that something?
I don't get
And
that.
that's when everything all of a sudden starts to fall into perspective to them when they got a life without parole. That's when, oh, now everything's falling into perspective for you.
See? Dirty Curtis, what you think about that, bro? That's the statement for today. What's your perspective on that? Is it better to build a child than to repair a grown adult?
It's building the child, right? So take me. Parents divorced when I was 3 years old. Single mom. But my mom had 6 brothers and my grandparents was together. I suffered from a lot of the ailments that these kids suffer from. First of all, you selfish. Your mom is compensating, right? So you may get away with certain things. But when you make it to a certain age where you know right from wrong, I stopped applying pressure to my mom and I started helping my mom. When I couldn't go out at 10 years old and cut grass like a grown man and earn a little money, I was collecting cans, recycling bottles to get my own spending money, right? And I had my trials and tribulations. The only difference was my mama slapped the taste out of my mouth on the first time. It wasn't no getting away, right? And when you are a single child, there comes a point where you ask yourself, what am I willing to do to get to where I want to go? Right? So you witnessed me, 4-sport athlete in high school, but I also worked 20 hours a week. I was the star on the field, but guess who was washing everybody's uniforms after the game and coming in early on Saturday before we watched film to clean up after everybody? That was me. So I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying, what are you willing to do? And if you ask these kids that, they act like you're speaking a foreign language.
Right. Absolutely right.
And so I think we're not teaching our kids the right questions to ask of themselves when adversity hits. And what I mean by adversity is this. We wasn't allowed to come home talking about that bully stuff. Now, if you come home and say you took an ass whooping, right, or got jumped on, that's one thing. But coming home and you telling your mama you just let somebody slap you upside your head with no consequences, no, sir. We weren't allowed to come in like that.
Right.
We weren't. Right? And if it was one of us, it better been all of us that took that whooping.
Mm-hmm.
And Pastor can tell you, that's the way I grew up. That's the way I lived it out. I never changed. I got a little more mature and a little bit more comfortable in who I was in God. But to use the single mom as a kid or being a broken child, if you have a foundation, just because the house ain't got no paint on it, just because it ain't no Mercedes parked out in front of it, that don't mean it's not a nice place to live.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So with us, what I see is we're building products made to crumble.
Right.
We're not building products made to withstand adversity, to withstand a storm, to withstand somebody having better shoes on than you. Man, I wish I would have looked at my parents different because somebody else got something better than me. I could be happy for you and still appreciate what I got. Where did that go?
Exactly. Same thing I was going to ask. When did all of that started being the factor? When did all of that start? All of this bullying, accepting the bullying, and kids killing themselves over what a bully say, especially the ones that's doing it and they getting bullied over the computer.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out when did all of this happen? Because I know I'm seasoned, as Pastor said earlier. I know I'm seasoned, but I'm not seasoned to the bone so much as I'm so far away from
Right. Yeah.
when the internet and all of that started. But when did this start that when a kid could come home and decide that they was going to put a rope over their neck or whatever they do to kill themselves because somebody was talking to them or
Yeah.
typing to them?
Here's the thing. This is a dynamic that I've observed, and let me say that this ain't all, or maybe not many, but this is something that I've observed in my own family and just neighbors and everything. A lot of times in a single where the mom is in the household in control of everything, and that young man hits 12 to 13 years old and starts smelling himself, getting a little bass in his voice and everything. What I've observed is that his masculinity is so beat down that if he don't have the right coaches or right mentorship on the outside of the home, he responds to authority. And I wouldn't even say in a female way. I would say in a very babyish, childish way. And instead of us raising lions, we got our lions thinking they kitty cats, man, and they're meowing.
Yep. Yep. He ain't lying. He is
Look,
not
Motor
lying.
y'all look, Motor Go's still at work, so she can't join the panel right now, but she said, I remember.
Said, Motorgo said, I remember I fussed back one day at my grandfather out of line. He calmly looked at me and said, one day you are going to wish you could hear my voice. Me and your parents and your grandparents. Woo! That's
He
real
said
talk.
something then.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wish Kurt and I, we talk about that quite a bit because
welcome, Jupiter.
Welcome Jupiter. We just we've lost fortunately Kurt's only lost his father and Uncle Versa's still alive, praise God. But I've lost both of mine. So I sit up and just wish I could because my dad was real good at listening. He was a great listener. So I could just vent and I could say anything to him. And he would just look and listen. So yeah, I understand that, and I understand that. Also, Motorgo said something about modern day technology. The technology got more advanced, but if I could just hit the switch and turn my computer off, that's easy. When we had to go fight, I remember when I went to public schools, it was a bully there named Rudy Lurks. And hey, I knew, I gotta fight this dude. I gotta fight. I know I can't go home and tell my parents this dude is blah, 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 blah. So that if I could have pushed the button on the computer to make it stop, it would have been a lot easier. But going in knuckling up,
That
That's
was the problem.
that solved the issue. Knuckling up. And I never had any problems again with that guy.
Tea time, you back with the
Tea
same
time,
old
yeah,
thing.
tea time, man. Tea time.
You welcome here, tea time, but just
Yeah.
not with that drama. Go on, you too
Yeah.
grown for that. That's what
So-
we're talking about right now.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Exactly what we're talking about.
And-
Grown people acting like little children.
And I found out that after I got so old, I don't know about y'all, and I was raised with Kurt, so I know a lot. Another thing, we held each other accountable. If you got a homeboy that's wanting to go do dirt with you, or you doing something wrong, and he ain't gonna pull your coattail and say, homeboy, don't do that. That's not your homie.
That's true.
Nope.
Yep.
That's not your homie.
Right.
Nope. That's
No.
your partner. That's your partner in crime.
Yeah.
That ain't your
Right,
homie.
right.
Jupiter, what's your perspective? Give us some, because you got little ones right now, and you and your husband are, raising y'all's children right now. So what's your perspective on that? Sharice, I'm gonna read your comment in just a minute.
I think it's definitely better to build a child, because once a man grown and his parents has already installed core values into him and he's already had life experiences and already started smelling himself, he gonna do what he want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
That's true.
And I've seen grown women I've seen mothers continue to try and mother that child, and there's only so much you can do, especially when they're already disrespecting you and themselves.
Right. That's true. That's true. Y'all pastor, he getting tired. Y'all know it rains, so your body get a little
achy out here and everything else.
Yeah,
with this
achy and
weather.
stuff. And then he got to do sermon, Bible study on Sunday. So let's let his voice relax. Sharice. Oh, so Jupiter, go ahead and finish. Because that's very true. I agree with you on that.
Me too.
Yeah,
I think it's very interesting to hear your guys' perspectives too, because my oldest child is only 8. So we doing a lot of learning over here ourselves. So I love to hear from your guys' experience as parents and from the people in the comments, because it teaches us, how we can be better as parents and what mistakes we might not want to make, so that our children can be confident in being an adult and not on
Right.
here on no interviews doing shenanigans.
Right. That's right. That's right. Ooh, 8 years old. What grade is that?
3rd grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had that. That's an age where they're more easily influenced by the people that they're around than listening to you. It's getting there, because 4th and 5th grade, the mirrors getting ready to shut all the way off. Because 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, girl, let me tell you. Right now, you still got control. So, y'all just, you and your husband, pray as a team, and don't let them, because they'll try to wiggle in and try to divide. You know what I'm saying? Like kids, they play parents against each other sometimes, All right, baby, be more on here. He on the panel. What's up, brother B-boy? And he's showing his face. Look at you.
Yeah, what's going on?
You don't make Pastor come back in there now. But yeah, Jupiter, you and your husband, y'all are still in control right now. So y'all just let God be your guide when you're growing that 8-year-old, because that 8-year-old is showing the rest of them how to be. And whatever you put in that 8-year-old, the rest of them are gonna follow and look at that. So you just setting the plane. And it's so sad that I'm the eldest of 6. So I had to do a whole lot of growing up quick, because my mama worked all the time. My daddy was gone all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I was at home keeping my siblings at 7 years old, maybe younger than that. But there were 6 of us. So at 8 years old, don't try to put too much on them. Let them be kids. Let them be an 8-year-old. Whatever they're into right now, let them be into that. And you guys build around that.
I tell you what, I'm sorry, Lady T. My father when I was coming up, when I got older, when I got to, he purchased me a car. So it was my 11th grade year. And I was able to go off by myself and, go hang out with my friends or whatever, just had a curfew to be back in. He would always tell me before I go out, he would say, look, if it's something that I want you to ask yourself this question, if it's something that
Thank you,
your
Cherie.
parents or that somebody has to come back and ask your parents or look at your parents and say, hey, we got your child, she did this or that out there. Is this something, is it something that your parents will be embarrassed about?
Mm.
I know I said it all wrong, but
No,
he
we
would
got it.
always come to me and say, is it something that your parents would be embarrassed about? Because now not only do you have to come up because we finding out about it. That's what it was. If your parents found out about what you were doing out here, would they be embarrassed? Are
Right.
you embarrassing your parents? And
Right.
I wouldn't always think about that now before I did what I was doing. But a lot of times that saved me. That
Right.
saved me. And I think that's why I'm still here kicking and breathing on this earth right now. Because I have a
Amen.
lot of friends that didn't make it as far as out of even high school.
Okay.
So I
Well,
appreciate him doing that.
Can I say something?
yeah, you go right ahead. Let me address this real
Can you
quick.
hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Be More?
Yes, I can.
Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
I can. This is my take on this first with young people, males and females. You have to start when they can understand when they understand yes or no. When they get 10, 11, 12, it's too late already. You're already behind in everything. They the the child brain is like a sponge. You must start when they can understand yes and no. And all that stuff as far as being friends with them, when they being disrespectful, you think that's cute. You wrong already. Now I raised three very good kids. Three very good kids. They all got their college degree. They all bought their own homes. I never had to go to school for them because when they were little, I let them know what my expectations was. I didn't wait to get 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and it's okay. Well, I need to show them some standards. I started when they were little, so they knew, and they think, and this is I'm a little older than maybe some of the ones this year. I believe in spanking, so they may think they got a lot of them, but they actually didn't. They got spankings when they were little to make sure that hey, this right, this wrong. When they got older, they got talked to a lot, yelled at, if you want to say that. So they thought they were getting, they got a lot, and they probably did, but they understood my expectations. You can't wait till these kids get to be close to 10, 11, 12 and start saying, no, I see changes in them. I need to do something now. You already too late. They've been programmed already. I don't have an issue with my kids at all. And people say there's no such thing as a manual to raise kids. And I say, yes, there is. It's called a Bible. And it will tell you everything you need to do. And if you don't know and don't understand, ask God, because God said he will give you knowledge and understanding liberally if you ask him. So you have to start with the kids and the young. Not only did I raise my kids, I did 21 years in the military, but then I also ran academy. And any of them would tell you, I tough love, hold them to the standard. You start getting 5th, 6th grade, and you did nothing but was amused by their misbehavior, and you want a friend, you want a buddy, you want a pal. I want this. I'm having a kid to be my friend, and you cannot have that. You must show them the way to being a young man and a young woman. And another thing, people say women can't raise a man, a boy to be a man, and I say yes, they can. If there's a man in the house, it's a few women that's got very strong characters that can raise a young man to be in the right environment to be a strong man. But most of the time, you need a man in that house, and not just in the house. He needs to have a strong character, and he needs to set the standard. I just want to say them few things. I wasn't coming tonight. I was busy working today, trying to get things around in my house, kind of configured, moving things around. But that is very passionate to me, is raising these young people we got these days to be successful adults, not to be my buddy, not to excuse their negative behavior, but to hold those kids accountable, because they will always come back to you. And I say this about a job. People will always come back to you, and your kids too, when you're a supervisor at a job and they say you mean or you this or you that. But when you leave and the standards fall, they will say so-and-so was here. That would not be happening. And that's the same thing with your kids. And I have plenty of kids say to me, I wish that you did with me what you did with your kids. I'm going to back off now. Let you guys go and talk.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you for your perspective on that, Brother B. More. Well, that's what we on here for. We're trying to get everyone's perspective. So the topic is it better to build a child than to repair a grown-up? And we're not just going to put a gender on that, because we got women and men out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are not a lot of mature women. There are not a lot of mature men. And a lot of that has to do with their being raised or lack of being raised. Sharice, she had a few things to say. Let me go back up because I don't want to miss out on anybody. Oh, yeah, Motico said it's a different type of bullying now. Yesterday is not today, but I do understand ain't nothing new under the sun. That's right. Tea Time said build a child. The grown-up has to get out of the way. All right. Cherie said absolutely. She said she lets her son know that it is okay to tell, because that will show him as a different black man. Sharice, I wish you would pop on the panel so you can elaborate on that. Hey, Granny, where you at? Life of Grandma. Sharice, thank you for.
Can I say something on bullying real?
Yeah. Thank you, Jupiter. Go ahead. Oh, you froze, Brother B. More. But the generations have changed since your children. Yeah. We would like to speak on it as far as percentage. So what?
Can I say something on bullying real?
Go ahead. Can you hear? Can you hear us?
This is what I'm saying, bullying. From what I've seen, this bullying. People think traditionally that the bully's a big guy, a strong guy, and they bully the young. But what I've seen is sometimes the little guy pokes the big guy until the big guy smacks him aside the head. And then they run and tell and say, hey, this guy's bullying me. I'm listening now.
I was bullied as a kid because I looked different than everybody else. I had real big lips and they were pink. You know, right now that everybody trying to get the same lips that I grew up with right today by getting the injections and all of that stuff. But back then when I was growing up, it was not popular to have big lips. They called me African. They called me all types of stuff. But I had real long, bushy hair and all of that good stuff. And my daddy used to always go and get my hair pressed and pulled for me all the time. And I was real, believe it or not, my skin was lighter than what it is. But I went to the military and I got cooked out there in that sun. But it's bullying starts with just any little thing. It's bullying now today. If a kid comes home and tells you that Maylee pulled their hair, or when she pulled her hair, she said that she stank or she was ugly. That's where it starts at, because those same little children that are bullying people at school are getting bullied at home, and you can guarantee somebody at home is doing them the same way, because habits are not something that kids just come out of the bushes with. Those are things that are taught to them by their own peers. It could be their own parents, anything. You just have to be paying attention when these bullies come out. Bullying is really, really strong. I heard a girl tell us yesterday that her little cousin was bullied so bad because she had to wear real thick glasses in her classroom, that her parents moved her from one school to the next school and moved to a smaller town, and the kids bullied her even more then. And the little girl went in the bathroom and she hung herself, and she was like 9 years old. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Who's Jacob? Welcome, Jacob. Who is Jacob? Let me see your face, Jacob.
Hello. I sometimes I don't show my face for like a privacy reason, and some people, but I
Where
see
you
that
from?
I'm from Palestine,
Okay,
free
welcome.
Palestine.
You know what we're
I
talking about today, Jacob?
I see, but I don't understand completely. Is it better to make like a child and raise him to be good man, or to try to fix a man?
Yeah. So what is your perspective from your culture? Give us your
Hey
perspective.
everybody.
What I
Hey.
say is that sometime you cannot fix a man, just like sometimes you cannot fix a woman. Some people they cannot be fixed. So some people they need God to fix them, and this is the only way. Sometime when you try to fix somebody, you break yourself. So there has to be limit on how much you can try to fix somebody. I try to fix somebody in the best, and you will actually end up hurting yourself more than you fix the person.
Okay.
So you can both end up being hurt. But I say, if you want to raise a man or you want to raise a woman, then you should leave what is hurting you, and you should be with somebody who is going to respect you, who is going to love you, and this is how you raise somebody right. But do not kill yourself for somebody wrong. Somebody who is broken, you cannot heal from somebody else. You cannot heal. You have to heal by yourself or by God. But if you heal by somebody else, when they leave, guess what? All your healing now will also leave. So don't rely on anybody to heal you. Nobody can heal you. Only God can heal you. This is how you become independent. When two people are healed, they come together, and now they make a beautiful family.
Right. Okay. And that's Jacob, y'all, from Palestine. So he's giving us his
Yes.
perspective of his country. So, that's how he feels about that. And we agree with you, Jacob. We really agree with you. And thank you for joining us. Did our live pop up over there where you are?
Yes, and I do have to get going, but it was beautiful to meet you all. You guys all
Make
have
sure
a
you
great day.
subscribe to the channel, Jacob. We appreciate you for
Inshallah.
joining. Thank you. That was very brave.
Goodbye.
All right, Sharice, go ahead, Miss Sharice. Welcome, brother Motor Go.
Yes, okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So what I was talking about when I stated that I had told my son, it's okay to tell. It's okay to tell because it shows you as a different black man, because they try to categorize all black people in the same category, arrogant, they're impulsive, they're scary, they're, argumentative and stuff like that. So I do let my son know it's okay to tell, because you're not looking like a snitch, you're saving yourself. And when you're saving yourself, you can start a trend to it's not snitching, it's you saving yourself. Because if you try to go along with the crowd, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna pin you out of the crowd. So I tell my son to be not of the crowd and not be with the crowd, and it's okay to stand outside the crowd. Like He got bullied when we first moved to Texas, and he was with his father when we first moved here. And you know, he's always trying to fit in, always trying to be cool. My son is real laid back and reserved. He's always been trying to make friends because he's the only child. But I let him know that it's okay, you know, not to fit in certain places. I said, when you don't fit in, that's because you're not supposed to be there. And people, it's all levels of bullying. It can be bullying by people like pinpointing out what you wear. It can be bullying by people just sitting up talking about you and gossiping. Even grown-ups are still getting bullied at their grown adult age. And you just got to handle it different. It's a perspective way of life that you could just now, it's like, you know what? Like me, I feel like I be getting bullied at work by verbiage, but I feel like people talking about me, and I humble myself. I be crying, but I humble myself because I don't snap back. Because if I snap back, then guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna lose my job. So like I tell my son, don't snap back, because guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna get kicked out of class. Then you're gonna get kicked out of school. You're gonna get kicked out of the system. And it has something to do with the morals. And I want to touch on what that brother was saying, talking about, you know, the morals and values, and when they're a small child and all that stuff. You can install all this stuff in your children. Your children were the lucky one to not have you ever come to the school, or your children were the blessed ones not to have this because they probably was in a 2-parent household. As far as me, I'm a single parent, and I said examples by my son to show him, like, you know what, just stay to yourself sometimes. Sometimes it's okay to be by yourself, you know. So he don't want to do that because he's about to be 15. He want to be looked at as a good person, but then he also have made some dumb choices. I'm not there to hold his hand 24 hours, 7 days a week. I could tap into the school to see how he's progressing in class and in his grades, and I could do all that stuff. But as far as characteristics, I know what I have installed in him. But this generation now is something totally different from, sir, your generation children that are now adults. It's different. Time changes, people changes, and the community is broken. Because back in my time, and me being 52, we had the aunties, the uncles, the elder cousins, the teachers, the principal. They was a community. So they all would come together and, you know what I'm saying, help fix the problem. Nowadays, everybody's just only concerned about their own selfish needs and their own selfish ways. You know, they could talk about, oh, yeah, well, you know, my children, your children had an opportunity. But for the ones that don't have the opportunity as your children had, do that mean you don't lack their concern of them? Are you going to do something to help make a change? Or are you going to step back into the community and say, you know what, let me be a big brother to some of these kids that don't have a father, or let me be a father figure, not their father, but to show them as a black man that they can have someone to look up to that's doing these right things. So we have become so selfish in our ways that we done left our community behind.
Well, and to piggyback off of that, but for Brother B More, that's what he does in his community. He gives back. He has you B More, you can unmute and give your own. You can all talk for yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You got to turn your TV down.
Okay. I was okay. Let me turn it down.
Yeah, you got to mute it.
Did I was on the phone when she was talking. I heard bits and pieces. What was the
I was just
previous
telling her
conversation?
that you have your like you give back to the community by being a big brother in your community. You also have a youth ministry that you deal with, or youth organization that you have.
Now I'm not actually right now working with young people, but whenever I come across one and we have a conversation,
right,
then I give my spiel on my perspective. I did spend a lot of years working with young people at Itmo in DC, and South Carolina. That may be my calling. I worked there many years, and I kind of walked away because not just that the lady Miss Groom was speaking about the village and how we got away from that and all. Even society has gotten away from that, where everybody wants to be nice to the kids and then ask what's wrong with them, because no one's disciplining them anymore. Now to me, just hold them accountable. You don't have to, back in the old days, spank them, but hold them accountable from the time they little. So when they get they get older, they already know what the expectation is. But when you keep babying these kids and making excuses for everything they do, because I want a best friend, I'm going to live my life that I missed through these kids here. So whatever they do is fine with me. I come from where it's tough love, and not abuse, but tough love. You know, I'm gonna use one for example. I had this kid. I forgot what he did when I worked with young people. So I got, those Walmart buckets, those 5-gallon buckets. I got 2 of them and set them 30 feet apart, and filled one with sand. And I gave him a spoon, and I said, when this bucket, all the sand out of this bucket is in this bucket over here. No, and it was for a reason, because it made them think as they was carrying the sand from one bucket to another. It made them think. Also, if they had other issues, I would take them out for like a 5 or 6, 7 mile hike, and I would talk to them, because when you walk and you talk, you're thinking, and it's things like that. Sometimes the things I did were a little harsher. But everything I did was I had a Rolodex things what I did. And I can show some videos, and some of you might not want to see some of them, but they were pretty good, and it always got the attention. And sometimes I smiled when he did something wrong, and when the parents said to me, you can do whatever you want to him, I didn't, because parents in the end are gonna be advocates for the kids. But when they did something wrong, I always took that as an opportunity to teach them a lesson. And I smiled, because I knew I got something for you. Back to what I said, we're talking about fixing the kids that's gone astray. But you would have to fix less kids if parents, a mother and a father, started when they were young. If you start right there, you have less kids you have to fix. We let society and the devil and the wrong people take over these kids. You have to start when they're young. You cannot make friends. You can be friendly with your kid. You can take them out, give them experiences in life and things like that, but you cannot be that kid's best friend that allow anything to go on. You must provide standards for them. This is what I expect. This is what I expect to see you do. And you can't change from that. I mean, every environment is different. And it's not just a father, it's the mother and the father. It's the mother and the father. I'm gonna keep going over that again. It's the mother and the father.
I asked Granny.
The mother actually is the one that raised the kids, if you think about it.
That's the order.
It's the mother. The mother is the person who provides the nurturing and everything else. The father is there for discipline and to keep order and structure. The mother is the one that raised those kids. My kids, my wife raised them kids. But because of the structure I provide, they're not going to step out of line. And then I didn't just walk away and leave them, because what some people do is they have kids of one woman, and they abandon those kids and go make a new set of kids with somebody else, or they take care of somebody else's kids and not their own. And when you take care of somebody else's kids, you're not going to provide the same level of discipline as your own. You got to start with the kids young, and it got to be a mother. Should be a mother and father in that house. And they're not going to want to follow directions, Grandma. But you got to hold them to a standard. And the kids look for what you look for, consistency. The same thing every time around. The environment changes, but they could almost know, if I do this, what's going to happen right here. They can kind of guess. Don't know what's coming, but they can kind of guess. I'm going to be held accountable for this.
Okay, let me say that.
I'm sorry, but I'm passionate about these young people that we got in this world.
Okay. You can be passionate, and I appreciate you for being passionate. No disrespect, okay? But we talking about today's time. We ain't talking about what you used to do or how we used to do. We talking about what we need to do and what we can do it at, right? Because today's time is perilous. And these times right here is so purged to where the men are not even being men no more. They're too busy trying to be soft as a woman. They're too busy trying to be the woman. And the men that are the men, like really 100% man, who stood on the banks with granddaddy and who went fishing and who you know what I'm saying, knew how to take deer meat and turn it into patty burgers and stuff like that, who did the hunt. Those type of men, they have been so disrespected by the women of this now time and so disrespected by the youth of this now time, they have given up. And so they be like you, Mr. B More, and I'm not coming to you no disrespect. I'm just giving you a perspective. They be like you now. What I used to do. I used to
on the phone. I was just telling my husband who you was, Sharice.
I used to do a lot of stuff too, but my used to need to be coming up to today's time of what I need to be doing.
Okay.
What I need to be doing. See, and there's the village is not here at this present time. Because you got these older men, you can be in a 20, 30-year marriage. It doesn't matter. If you're not in the alignment with God as you're supposed to be as the man of the household and the covenant of the household with your wife, then what are you doing? You out here trying to still be young. Not you. I'm just saying, I'm just talking to Junior, so I'm not pointing this toward anybody. But you out here trying to be young, trying to get you a younger model female, trying to get you, because now you old, your woman old, she can't take care of you like how she's supposed to. You tired of looking at her for 30, 40 years. So what you trying to get something fresh. You're not trying to stay in the covenant that God has given you. You're not trying to sit out there like like it says in the Bible, when Jesus had the sheep, it was 99 that was there. It was 100. When that one strayed, it was the 99 that was kept in that fence. He went after that very one. It don't matter what needed to be done. He went after that very one so he can bring his sheep and see, so he can stay there be a shepherd. Our shepherd of human society has dwindled. The men are not fasting and praying as they supposed to be, the protector and provider of the home for the covenant, as a protector and provider for the community. It can take one brother that can cause a ripple effect of greatness by going to another brother in the same age category and say, have a conversation. Hey man, our youth out here is doing what can we do to make a change? Now you can have 1,000 communications, but the children nowadays, they go by actions. If you're not living in accordance standard of a man, and you sitting up here doing one thing, but you telling us something, you doing something else, it's like you being thrown to and fro and you being wayward in all your ways. So you got to either stand for today and count for something for today going forward, or you just going to keep having the same thought in your own concept of mind saying what I used to do when I used to do it. The key word used to. You're used to do it. What about doing it right now? What's going on with today right now? How many boys, how many young men have you walked up to and say, hey, I want to start an organization, but I'm going to need a couple of y'all young men who are still in school, who doing right. They might call you nerd, they might call you geek, they might call you at the name, but I need y'all, I choose y'all to help me start a new protocol. How many men is actually stepping up to that plate doing that? I'm not attacking nobody on the panel. I'm just talking in general as a single mom who's out here. And I talk to these young ladies around me, and I teach these young ladies to save yourself. I teach these young ladies that be around me sometime in these apartments where I'm at. Hey, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be wearing short shorts to get no attention. I said, because what's for you is for you. You ain't got to do all that extra stuff for a man or a boy to look at you. When your time comes, God gonna give you right when you gotta have patience. Then you know what else I tell them? I say it's all these STDs out here. They got the gonorrhea, they got the HIV, they got chlamydia. I get strict and hard. And I teach my son that. And so my son knows to save himself. Because I'm telling him, when God sends you a wife, you're gonna know her by the way she represents herself. So
okay, let me ask this question, Sharice. Jupiter says, do you think a man or a woman can build themselves while raising children, or do they already have to be built?
I believe that a woman or a man have to be totally healed from their own personal childhood.
Hold on, Sharice. What'd you say? Be more. Who was that? Motigo? Who's talking?
Yeah, once they land their plan, I want to insert myself.
You constantly building.
Okay.
So but you still have to build on that.
All right, Motigo.
Can I slide in there?
Go ahead, Motigo. Slide on in.
Okay, I'm gonna just talk from my perspective because I think I might be one of the youngest ones on this panel, I believe. But okay, so let me say this: I was raised, I believe I was raised right with morals and everything, you know, the correct morals, and I was in the church or whatnot, and that's where it started for me as far as in your what you need to do to be righteous, right? And when I was taught that, I start asking questions, and once we start asking questions, I start asking questions. You know, it's like don't question God, but I'm questioning you, you know, to give me these answers or whatever. When the church couldn't provide what I needed or whatever, I couldn't see it. That's when I went out and started doing whatever it was that I wanted to do. I'm not saying that's an excuse or nothing like that, but after that, I started looking at the community because I come from a village, a real life village. I come from the village of South Mansfield, Louisiana, and we was a tight knit community or whatever. But once my generation, and I'm just talking for my class especially, once we graduated, we moved away because we had to go get opportunities that wasn't set up for us. We couldn't get jobs because all the older people was holding down those McDonald's jobs and State Farm jobs, or you know, jobs just jobs irregularly. So we had to leave, but once we left and go get it on our own, and you know, and we don't have anything to come to. Like it's hard to tell somebody to walk this way or do this when you got an organization you want to build with the young people, but you should have been built it, you know, or you know, it's nothing left for us. Like so a lot of people, younger people, when we get out of here, we fall off. We may not disrespect you, but like, what have you telling us this? But what have you built to show for? You know, to give to us. And I think that's
Right.
dealing with a lot of not being there, like, because I think it's strategic that they spreaded us all around, but you know, and now we have to talk online where they can also hear our conversations and stuff too, and that's a little bit exposing, you know. I think we need to come back together as far as in land and everything. Like land, we need to be in the same place so we can discuss these things in a proper setting too. You know, to be around each other, because what community, you know, what community when we all spread it apart each other? Just the black community, you know what I'm saying? So that's just all I want to insert there.
Sharice, go ahead with your Miss Jupiter. Do you have anything further, Miss Ange? Which one
Well
of y'all
said,
want?
Mother Goat.
Let me give that was well said. We appreciate that because that is true. We need to start back building because we did get out of that. But let's talk about our foundations with that question that was asked. Our foundations are built off of what God says our order should be in our house. And the order of God is God, Jesus, the husband, the wife, and then the children. That's the
Right.
order. That's the order of the family. That's how we were raised up. That's how our children should have been raised up. That's how our children should have been raised up. But where we're falling short is we're taking out the order of our families. The women are now trying to become the men of the family. The men are outside no longer working like they're supposed to do. And women are outside trying to get it, working 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. That's leaving these kids out here to fend for themselves. That's what's going on. That's why everything has broken down, because the order of the family has been broken down. They've taken it away from God, and then they've done it amongst themselves. So now these little girls are out here having children at 10, 12, and 13 years old. They're not ready to be mothers. These boys are out here having with sex with these girls. They're not ready to be fathers
At all.
None of them. They're not ready to be parents. So that's where the breakdown is happening. That's why we have hard-headed people, grown-ups, like we got fight all of them on here. Like Grandma said that she said tonight on her channel. We already know where that's coming from. But the truth is that dynamic where they had that option to be raised up in their homes as children, they're no longer children. Now they're adults out here that are thinking with the mindsets of children, and they're all out here scattered out, acting, running amok, doing crazy things. And then us, a lot of us, are going back saying, well, where your parents at? Where your mom and them at? Where your dad at? It's not their fault anymore because you're a grown-up. You do not have to, yes, because you are a product of your environment does not mean you have to still be a product of your environment. Somebody
That
get
you
that.
have to produce from it.
Thank
Correct.
you. You do not have to be that. You don't have to be that. I was raised up in an abusive household. I saw my daddy punch and beat on my mama all the time. But do I want that? No, I don't want that in my life. But I'm gonna tell y'all what I did do. I raised my kids in that same messed up household. 21 years I did that. I done that. I chose to be a product of my environment. But now that I'm married again, I'm no longer in that lifestyle. I grew up in my mind because I allowed God to grow me up. And I'm thankful for that. So our dynamics are all broken down. And it starts from us looking back saying, oh, I don't want to be like my parents. I don't want to raise my kids like my parents raised us. But was that wrong? Was that wrong? Because you ain't been to prison. You got a job. You know how to take care of yourself. You know how to do all of these things. And then yet and still you look back and say, I don't want to be like them.
Well, see, can I chime in on it? Can you hear me? Okay. It's been many times I said I didn't want to be like my mother, right? Mm-hmm. Because reason why I said those things during that time, that I'm going to tap back in on other stuff. Because during that time, she worked so much, she never had time for me. But she disciplined us where it was necessary. Okay. Mm-hmm. I made it my notion to not be like my sisters and none of that. I waited till I got married to have a child. I don't want to be like my cousins. I don't want to be like my aunties. I was one of the second ones out of a family of 17 to actually be married to a man before I had a child. Okay. I spent a lot of time with my son everywhere. And then I start seeing myself acting like my mom, working so much, not having time to spend with him. And I had to stop and realize and breathe for a second, like, hold up, I'm following in her footsteps. Let me catch myself. You know, even though I had a husband at the time, his father's Nigerian, he didn't know a lot about America like that during that time when my son was small. But we both was in his life. We are still steady in his life, even though we co-parenting. It's a great co-parenting relationship. And I thank God for that part. But, you know, I saw myself acting like my mom, working so much, not having time. So I had to step back and understand, like, in order for my son to see anything of me good, I have to spend quality time with him. I have to spend time with him to know who he is. Because a lot of parents don't even know their own children. They don't know their actions. They don't know their emotions. They just know that that's their child. So when we spend time with our children to know, okay, I know my son will do this or my daughter will do this. I know when she's lying. I know when she's telling the truth. I know when she's upset. I know when she's happy, because we have spent time with them to understand their actions of emotions. And when we don't understand the actions of the emotions, guess what? We don't even know our own kids. Yeah, they might be good grade students. They might take, but how much time did you put into the effort of them being happy to do a science project or going to their football games or really sitting there helping them with their math homework or helping them understand how to do correct verbiage on a paper when it comes to English and literature? How much time did we sit alongside of them to help them with their walk? Because that's where it starts, at putting in time. So today's society, it don't allow us to put in the time, like you said, Ms. Tamika, because we got these bills is high, everything is going up. So single parents, sometimes even husband and wife got to work so much and work so hard to keep the roof over their head, keep food on the table, keep the car insurance going, keep the car going and all this other stuff. And you with your daughter or your son on occasions here and there, but you're not really committing to no time. And it's just like you getting to know Jesus and getting to know God, you got to commit to the time. Because how much time do you really have when you don't spend that time? Time is very precious. And when it comes to our children and the community, you know, I love being an activist with people who are activated. I don't want to be around somebody talking, well, we're going to do this. And I show, well, we're not doing it today. I can't no longer be active with you because you're not showing no activity of activeness. So a lot of us do a lot of talking about what we can do, but we ain't doing it. And when it comes to the community building, you see all these other nationalities. You got the Asian community, the Mexican community, the white community, the African community. They know how to come together and live up under a 5-4 bedroom house, 2-bedroom apartment, and help each other build. But as far as us Black Americans, we can't do that because we're going to be fussing about who paid the light bill last. So I'm the last one to buy all the tissue. No, I did the cooking yesterday. They don't do none of that.
A slice of my bread.
Right. Who took the last tip? You know, who drunk out my Pepsi? Well, I mean, first of all, you live in a house with a bunch of people. So, you know, when you go grocery shopping, you need to buy a lot of groceries. And they all pitch in on groceries. They all pitch in on the rent. They all pitch in on the light bill. And guess what they still have money to do? They still have money to save up so they can go get them another place and bring 4 more families with them to a bigger house. They help each other build and grow. But us Black folks, we cannot do that.
We won't do it for nothing in the world.
guess what? We worried about. I'm gonna use me and you, Tamika. We'll be worried about. Girl, when Tamika husband go home, when Tamika go to work, girl, I'm gonna go in there into Brother Ragsdale room, girl, and make him feel what I'm talking about. Cause baby, you got the mentality women that's
Can I
like
ask
that
this
and so
question?
fast. Let me
Go
finish,
ahead.
please.
Go ahead and finish.
How much of those has those roles changed?
You said have they changed?
Okay, well.
Finish your Reese. What you said?
Okay, so that's the thing. It's the woman trying to seduce the other woman's husband. It's the man trying to seduce the other man's wife, and there's no trust built. We break trust, we break the loyalty, we break the honor, we break the
How have they changed?
communication.
Or if they have changed?
Yeah, we break the trust, we break the honor, we break the communication, and we build it up on lies. And we make the lies seem so believable, where the lies be so cold, where you now believe your own lie and think it's the truth.
Right. Come on in, Brother B More. Can you hear?
We break trust, we break the loyalty, we break the honor, we break the
You got to turn your TV down.
You now believe your own lie because
Anybody else want to respond?
Hold on. A lot of everything starts. You have to take care of home first before you can take care of any place else. Oh, okay. Let me turn it down. You got to take care of home first before you take care anywhere else. You can't have your kids run around committing crimes, being the worst kid in the world, and go have a conversation with somebody else how to raise their kids. You have to set the example first. And I'm go back to this key thing I keep hitting on. You have to start with those young people when they're smaller, when they're younger, when they understand yes and no. When they understand yes and no. You can have no matter what generation they in. No matter what generation they in, it'll make a difference to me. You must start when those kids are young. You can't say because, well, they got this generation now that I'm going to give them a cell phone or a tablet, and that's going to take the place of my parenting. You have to start when those kids are young. You have to talk to them, be with them. You can give them that time with the tablet, the cell phone, all that, but you got to get your time in too, and you can't go save the world if you ain't saved your own already. Your energy should be saving your kids and take care of your kids first before you go take care of anybody else. Take care of yours first, and then you go to the others. If I took care of mine and the next parents took care of theirs, the next parents take care of theirs, and we could come together, like we say, the community. Because right now, if you say something to somebody else's kid, somebody want to fight you. If you tell them the right thing, somebody want to fight you or upset with you, want to have words with you. But okay, I'm gonna take care of mine, and not only mine, my grandkids, and anything in my line, I'm gonna take care of that first. Then I'm going out and have a conversation with somebody else. But you have to, these days and times, you still can't. Have to choose your words very carefully.
Right.
You have to start with your kids. That's my key thing. I'm saying when they are young.
Yeah, and that's the same thing what she was just saying about how the
I agree with her.
Yeah, she was. This is about the same thing, but yeah, I totally agree. You, like my husband said earlier, when you can start doing this here, you start doing that when they're able to understand yes and no, then you won't have to pull out a belt later. You won't have to pull out like some people used to throw shoes at the kids or hangers or whatever at the kids. If you start tapping their hand and telling them, then making them
don't take shoes, hangers, and abuse your kids, nothing like that.
Old crazy stuff, and that's why they out here in this world doing this and doing all that old crazy stuff because they don't know how to discipline. They know how to act a fool, so all their kids is getting is how to act a fool. That's it. That's
When
And
you
I
very
think
don't
I
do
from
got
what
what
something.
you're
you're
supposed to
saying,
do, those kids go
Go
somewhere
ahead.
else and get that, and it may be the wrong information they're
right.
getting. So I would want to give them the information myself.
Yeah. Go ahead, Motor.
Can
Go.
I have
okay.
3 kids, but I have
I'm gonna
5
let him land his plane.
grandkids.
Hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. Be more. Go ahead, Motor. Go.
My
I can let him land his plane real quick if he
oh,
can.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Be more. You go ahead.
they
Be more. Go ahead.
all I got 5 grandkids. 4 of them are identified as exceptional and talented students, and the 5th one is working on it. That's time spent with kids. Time spent with kids. Time spent with kids. And you got to start again. I keep going there when they're young. When they get up to the close to 10, 11, all that stuff, it is too late. You may can get to them, but you already behind everything. You have to start when they're young. When they understand yes or no, they can comprehend that. You work with that. I'm gonna say one thing that I do with my kids, my grandkids. I would always force them to choose right. I force them to choose right. And I'm gonna give you an example. When they learn things, I would say the things the wrong way on purpose. And they would come back to me, that's not the way it go. And I would always keep going, coming back the wrong way. And they would say, no, that's not the way it go. Repetition breeds proficiency. You do things over and over again to reinforce things, to give them things in their mind. You have to start when they're young, when that sponge can absorb everything you can give them. When they start getting 10, 11, 12, 13, and their teens, their minds are getting concrete. And the only person can get to them is their peers. Because they listen to them more than you at that time. If you haven't put nothing and paid your time into them, you're going to lose them. You got to spend your time with those kids.
That's true.
you got
And
to kind of
what I'm seeing Jupiter.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna back off.
Hold on just a second. Let Motor go say what he's gonna say. Give me 1 second. I gotta let somebody else get it in real quick. Then Sharice, we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I completely agree with what everybody's saying because I think it's a lot of moving parts. There's just not one thing that's correct when it comes to these kids and stuff like that. But I also see technology is very, very important. And also listening to the kids while we also listening to the adults. The adults not always correct on everything. And the fact that this world technology is moving. It's moving quick. And we have to incorporate some of those parenting skills with what the younger kids got going on too. And also I don't want to ignore the fact that it's not just all good out here, right? And it's not just all bad. So the fact that we can just lean on and say, oh, hey, it's the kids, and then it's just the parents. No, it's a balance of both of them. And we can't ignore that there's an evilness out here to attack those kids, because if you leave a flower to bloom, it's gonna bloom beautifully. You know what I'm saying? And I always give the analogy of this. You could tell me to tie my shoe, but if something on top of my head and somebody hitting me upside my head, it's gonna be hard for me to focus to tie my shoe. A simple task, So we can't ignore the enemy, and there is an enemy that's attacking our youth. I've read stories where they take the most brilliant minds that we have, and they watch them from babies. Once they start doing all that crazy testing in the schools and stuff, you don't know what it's for, and you just letting them test your babies and stuff. They watching those kids, and once they know that you're not those kids don't have a community that back them for whatever kind of brilliant mind that they have, they bring them on into their society, and that's what they really be calling the DEI. They need us, so they'll bring them on into their building and have them, give up their juice, and it's proven history. And that's another thing, we got to look into history, because talks like this, they're gonna look back on this and see what we was thinking. They're gonna see what they could pull, because history is for us to learn from the mistakes. And and or the trenches that we fall in between while we walking. You know, we got to learn from that. And that's why I always look at when older people talking and they having them conversations. I go way back in the day, the oldest conversations I can hear them possibly talking about, and they be talking about stuff that's going on right now, but they probably hadn't figured it out or something like that. So we got to just take from it, you know, take the good from it too, you know,
Right.
because if not, we just gonna be spinning our wheels and falling into the same traps. But technology is not going nowhere, and but we have the money, and it's like we always say we don't have the money, but we do have the money. We spend it on everything else. We just have to spend it in the right places, and technology is a real good place to spend this money in, so our kids could be equipped, so they won't have to go anywhere and use their juice up.
Spoken from the mind of a Gen Z. It's good. So Miss Jupiter has a question. She says, do you think one parent can be more influential to a child than the other, even if both parents are actively in their lives? And I wish I had my husband here to answer this question. Do you think one parent can be more influential to a child than the other, even if both parents are actively in their lives? And y'all, I'm gonna let my husband come in here and speak on this question, and then we'll pick up back with Miss Sharice.
Normally,
and
it's a woman.
What you say? What you say, Brother B-Mo? If y'all have a question like
I said, normally they both have a role to play, but normally the woman, because they're the nurturer, will have more influence over their child. The father, as being a discipline, and the man should reinforce what the mother, and the mother should reinforce what the father is saying,
and not allow them to pitch you against each other. Go ahead, baby.
I was raised in a 2-parent home, and as a child, I leaned towards my mother because she was the nurturer. But as a man, I used what my dad taught me. So I think it goes back to God. You know, we have this thing that the village, it takes a village. It don't take a village. It takes your mother and father doing it God's way. Because I've pastored for over 30 years now. And I won't go into the things I've heard in a pastor's study, but male and female was harmed by the village. When I say the village, I was R-worded by my uncle when I was being babysitted at my grandmother's house, and her son was still living there, and he was on crack or whatever, and he violated me. So what I'm saying is, it takes mother gives you things that please, but daddy gives you things that you need. As a male in America, my dad taught me how to shut up and follow. And he taught me that shut up doesn't make you weak. Being quiet does not make you weak. Obedience, the Bible says obedience is better than sacrifice. So you're going to always, I think, mother and father, it's different stages of your life. You're going to say, Mom helped me there. But then it's other stages you're going to say, Dad helped me there. Now, I'm going to go back to the word because I'm word built, and the word has to be true. So somebody got to be telling a lie. Look, the Bible says in marriage, mother, man and wife, man and woman, leave your father's house and cleave. The word cleave is like a French braid, like a knot. They're becoming one. So once you become one, praise God, a solid unit, what makes the difference? Mother and father are one. I could, if my mama told me no, I couldn't go to my daddy and get it. If my daddy told me no, I couldn't go to my mama and get it. They became one. They were one unit. It was only one weighing scale in our house. And everyone had to live by that rule. We had to honor that. So there was no big daddy and little mama, big mama, little daddy. In other words, it wasn't no power struggle. They were not competing. They were completing the process. And that's where we've gotten away from. It's too many women trying to get into their testosterone and be mannish, and it's too many men trying to be feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. But y'all be blessed.
Spoken like a true pastor. And I had just said that, didn't I? Didn't I just say that? Okay.
So that's why we're having these discussions, and it's great because, it's great because a lot of people, we all five of us that are on this panel at this moment, we're all coming from different backgrounds. Every last one of us. If Ann share her life story, is going to be different from B Moore's life story, and vice versa. B Moore's is going to be different from Grown's life story, and vice versa. It's same as Jupiter's. We're all going to come from different backgrounds. I just shared a part of mine with y'all. Y'all may not have grown up like that, but I did. You know what I'm saying? But it's not to break anybody down, but sharing is caring, because when we're interacting with people on a day-to-day basis, and some people are coming in and they're torn down or beat up, you just never know why. You never know why. And you don't know, like these children, when they're going to school and they coming in, they're hungry. A lot of them don't have a place to stay. They're sleeping on the floor or in their cars with their parents or outside. You never know what you're running into with these people. So it all falls back to one word, and that's love. It's love. We have the lack of love is the reason why our breakdown in our family has diminished. It's the lack of it. And y'all, some may not agree, but for me, that's what I see. Yeah, the man leaves his mother and father and cleaves to his wife. That's what we're supposed to do, Mr. B. Noir. But not everybody is married. And everybody's frowning on marriage. Right today, a lot of people are frowning on marriage. No one is staying in their marriage until death, because we're all failing at that, because we're looking at the person that we're married to instead of listening to what God says that we're supposed to be doing within that marriage. And those are the vows that we committed to.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you wake up every day and you look at that person next to you, you ain't gonna like that person from day to day. But what God brought together, you let no one put you on, not even yourself. Not even yourself. You got to take self out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Completely. And let God be the guide.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Mr. B. Moore, you've been married for what, 40-some years, 47 years, you said? How long you say you and your wife been married?
No, 40 years. And I'm going back to kids again. Raising my kids, I heard parents say, you do it my way or get out. And it was never that way with me. And I'm sorry, I got a lot of testosterone in me. Mine was just like this. This is what we're doing. This is how it's going to be. And that was just it. You're not getting put out. You're doing it my way. And you were conditioned. You were conditioned as a young person. This is what it's going to be. So there was no going no other way. And if I come off too strong with that, I'm sorry. I can't change that way. I was raised, like Pastor Rector say was, with a mother and a father.
Yep.
Grandparents on both sides.
You ain't got to be sorry for that. That's how we were all supposed to be raised. I was raised with my mom and my dad, but my daddy was just not like I know my daddy. I knew where my daddy was at all the time. We knew where he was, whether he was up the street, around the corner. We knew where he was at, but he was always back at that house. We always knew. Thank you all about territory. Thank
When
you, honey. Thank you. But yeah, but we I'm sure we all know of our parents, but I'm talking about living in the household like consistently. Your dad go to work, your mama may have gone to work, but they both
Yep.
came back home and they had a loving net. And a lot of times they didn't fight in front of the kids because they didn't want them to see that. But we always knew they argued. A lot of parents say, "Oh, I didn't fight in front of y'all," but a lot of kids are not dumb. They know that. But you know, the family dynamic is broken down.
Can I say something else about? I'll say something about men and women, and this is something I've been saying to a lot of men. Men get married with the wrong mindset sometimes, and they think because I'm the man, and God said I'm the man, I'm supposed to be so-called in charge, that you're supposed to do what I say. This is my perspective. A woman will not really follow you totally unless she feels she can trust you and you can provide for her and you can protect her. So you can't do that in the beginning when you're a young person, don't have those things. But patience, be patient with the man. Because if he can take care of you, all the bills paid, you got no worries and nothing like that, then she's probably going to follow you and she's going to do what you ask her to do.
Right.
But when you can't hold a job down, you don't have a job, you can't take care of your responsibilities, and you can't raise the kids, and you somewhere else, then why should she listen to you?
Right.
And I'm sorry I'm getting into that, but so many young people get married and they break up because the man get in there with the perception where he hasn't established himself yet that this is the way it's going to be. The woman has got to be able to trust you, feel secure by you, and that you're going to take care of the bills. And if she want to go out and buy something or eat something, you can take care of her.
Right.
If you can't do that, why are you giving all these orders out? Except you can use the word, okay, what the Bible said that. But the Bible also tells you to take care of your wife and your family and your kids. And I went on a rant. I'm sorry. Let me back off.
No, you're right. We totally agree. Jupiter, what you think about that? Because Jupiter's married. How long you and your husband been married, Jupiter?
We've been married for 2 years, but we've been together for almost 9.
Oh, okay. Well, and all your children are by your husband, right?
I have one that's by somebody else.
And that's your 8-year-old?
Yes.
Okay.
And I want to thank y'all for answering my question.
Yeah, as long as you put them up there, we got you. We got somebody. Okay, who is this? Grownish. Oh, grown F5H. But you have some men that wasn't raised by their father, so they don't know how to be a man. Their only thing is to survive by any means necessary, given because the mother is the only source naturally.
That's facts.
You wrote that.
Yeah, I just wrote that because y'all was talking. I don't want to overstep my boundaries.
I said if y'all have a question or something and you want it to be read, and then we'll call on you. That's right. Thank you. I appreciate that because we got to keep order when we have a lot of people on the panel, and we want everybody's perspective regarding what we're talking about, because we see these panels and a lot of people don't be respectful. So I do appreciate y'all for the respect that y'all come on here, and we all grown, like all of us are like 30 and above, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all for the respect. I really do.
Okay. So I'm gonna tap in. You ready?
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you know I'm a bubbly love anyways. So reason why I made that statement is because like my son's father, once again, he is Nigerian. My son's father died when he was 3 years old. When my son's father was 3 years old, his father passed. His mother had 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. The only thing he knew was how to be in survival mode to help his mother with his other siblings, even though he's like the second child. You know what I'm saying? He got an older sibling, he the second, he got a baby brother, and then he got his sister. So they didn't have a father to show them the fatherly things that they supposed to do. His mother never remarried another man ever. You know what I'm saying? She stayed to herself all the remaining years until her time passed. And to raise their kids. Like my son is actually their first American grandchild. Okay. So With my son being the first American grandchild, you know, they flew over here, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I would look at how he would talk to his mother. And I would say to him, you know, you need to stop talking to your mother like that, because the way he talked to his mother and the way I talked to my mother, my lip would have been across the United States somewhere and back again. Okay. So, and I never understood why he talked to his mother like that. But then once I really start understanding, just sitting back, being more observant than more speaking out or speaking up on things, once I became silent and I just looked and paid attention, that's because he had to go in survival mode all his life. Over there in Nigeria and then come over here to America, all he know how to do is survive. He don't know how to distribute, how to be a father or how to do fatherly things or come together with a woman and raise a child, because he lost his father at 3. So as he grew older, he was around uncles or whatever, but it wasn't his father. So some men carry that over to their own children. They don't know how to be a father, and he didn't know how to be a father to our child. So therefore, it made me to be a tougher woman. And I don't like to be, I'm going to be honest with y'all. As a Black woman, I don't want to be independent and strong like that. Be honest with you. I don't. I don't want to be like, oh, I got this. No. I want companionship. I want to be flourished in companionship, flourished in spirit more than anything. I want to be flourished with a companion. Because this world, it takes 2 people nowadays. Whether one is working or not, it takes 2 people to settle emotion. While I'm storming, he can be my calm. When he's storming, I can be his calm. You know what I'm saying? When you ain't got nobody there, you gonna stay either storming all the time, or you gonna pretend like you calm and you still in a rage. But he didn't know how to be a father. And now that my son, he has grown up, what he do to our son, he give him gifts. Like he done took him overseas several times in different countries and stuff like that. Buy him the most expensive, PlayStation 5s, the most high-tech electronics. He do all that stuff. I said, but what about the time? And see, therefore, I give him all the time, and I give him the love. So when my son get older, I'm gonna be the one he look for and look at. And I have installed in my son how to be. When you meet my son, Mr. Meek, because you're gonna meet him. When you meet him, he's the most respectful, loving kid. He's laid back and chill and relax.
I want you to introduce him to my husband, because because he likes to pour into young men like that. And being that his dad is with his daddy right now though, right?
He's busy with. Now that's one thing. Even though we divorced and we separated and all this other stuff, we had our battle moments. That's the one thing I never did, like most Black women try to do. They try to keep their child from their father. I won't ever do that, because my son need to know who his father is. He need to know how his father acts. He need to see what his father does, because one thing is going to either do is going to grow him up not to be nothing like him, or it's going to install some things into him to where he can, like, kind of, you know what I'm saying, make it more flavorful for his life to be more of a greater man than his father.
Amen. And I applaud you for that, sister, because a lot of us don't do that. I ain't never ever been that type. I've never been that type. I don't do child support. I don't do none of that, because I don't believe in it. I believe if we laid and made, then we need to stay and raise. What is the use of doing all of that? It don't even make no sense. It's crazy. And for these Black women, and I'm talking to these Black women because I am a Black woman, y'all need to stop that, because that is another reason why our young fellows are out here lost in the sauce and don't know which way they're going. And I'm gonna tell you again about these females. They're out here, like my sister said a while ago, in these cut up booty shorts. Like my husband say, if it's not for sale, take the sign down. And then you get mad when somebody hit on you or call you a HOE or something like that. If you stop displaying it, you will never be categorized like that. I was raised up in a holiness church, and we had to be moderate. When I say moderate, even as a little girl, I had on pantyhose, long dresses. My sleeves was always long, even in the heat. And we had to wear this little thing on top of our head to keep us covered or whatever. We had to be moderate. Even when I go out now, I still got to be covered up. I wore a shirt to work the other day, and I put that shirt on, and I could see my skin up here, and I did not feel right. So I went and put on one of my husband's tank tops up underneath that, and I went to work, because I said, not only thinking about my husband how that would make him feel to see my skin, but how it makes me feel first as a woman. I don't want nobody looking at my body because it's not for everybody. I'm married.
She sure said
It's
it,
not
y'all. I'm
for
a witness.
everybody.
She said it. I said, you sure said it. I'm a witness because we was while you said, girl, I had to
Yeah.
put this tank top on
I
my
had
head
to
because
put
if my
tank top
husband
on it
seen me,
because I didn't
baby.
feel right. It's a cute top, but it
Yeah.
can be cute in moderation. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
be quiet, Pastor Red. Look, Brother B More, can you get your pastor together? He like to show out. Sister Ange, you done been quiet for a while. What you got to say on the topic? We getting ready to shut it down here in a few.
I'm sorry, hon. I had some unexpected company to come,
Oh, you
and
good? I hope
I
they
still
listening
got
in.
you on here. Today
I
was
hope
my
they
mother's birthday, and you know she's no longer with us, so family or people have been coming by to just to check on me.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
true.
what was going on. I didn't want to just hang up, y'all. I'm
No,
so
you can
sorry,
get off of there.
y'all,
You
because
good.
I
You
was
good.
really interested in what was going on,
Yeah,
and
we appreciate it.
I'm gonna have to start coming to all of them because this was my first one. So
Yeah,
I
we
really
appreciate it.
enjoyed myself, and I'll go ahead and drop off because she's still here right now. So
All right.
I'll go ahead and drop off. And Tamika, me and you will be getting together, hun. I
Yeah.
appreciate you all. Thank
All
you
right.
all for letting me come in. Thank
Later,
you.
sister. Later.
Talk to you later. Bye
All
bye.
right. He is be more, you know, I'm just joking around. He likes to joke, and y'all, my husband be joking a lot. A lot of people don't understand what joking is. So when we first got together, he used to joke a lot, and we used to work with this lady named Miss Paula. Was that her name, baby? Miss Paula. And Miss Paula used to say, "Why you let him talk to you like that?" I said, "Miss Paula, you really think he mean harm?" I said, "You don't think he joking?" She said, "I don't think men supposed to be joking about women like that." She was an older woman and had been married a couple times, and she was single by herself. I said, "Miss, I don't think he mean no harm. I think that's just his personality." But he wasn't saying anything rude or negative. And he just do like he do now. Say looking like grandma at 9. You know, stuff like that. That's funny to me. If you can't make me laugh, I don't want to be around you. Miss Jupiter said, exactly. My mama never said a bad thing about my dad and always let me develop my knowing about my father. Kids should have the option to observe their parents and get to know them for themselves. That's true.
That's true. And that's
That
what I've
is true.
done.
And
I
that's
let
what
my
you should do.
And when
And
my
just
son get to talking bad about his daddy, I
put
tell
him
him,
in
I
his
said, boy,
place.
first daddy. I put him in his place.
That's
I said,
right,
because
boo.
at the end of the day, that's still your father. Now, the
Right.
choices that him and I made not to be together, that's a us problem, not a your problem. I said, but if
Indeed.
you have two loving parents right here, your daddy love you in a disciplined manner, and like I do love him and nurture him, but I also discipline my son. So, you know, just like your husband was saying, if he go to mama said, no, he can't go to daddy and shit. Now, my son tried it one time. He tried to come say, well, my daddy, I said, what your daddy say? He said, no, I said, well, I'm going by what he said because apparently you ain't supposed to have it or get it. So,
Mm,
you know, and I don't want to sound so, you know, testosterone. I don't want to be that strong woman like that. Like I
that's not
sometimes want to be weak for, you know, not weak, but sometimes I want to be settled
yeah.
I want to be feminine. I don't
We
always
will.
want to be strong.
Right. Your
You know what
husband
I'm
gonna
saying?
allow you to be just that. Whenever God presents him to you, you're gonna know because that's all you're gonna feel. You're gonna feel and you're gonna feel secure and you're gonna feel love and you're gonna feel covered.
Well,
Most
girl, where
importantly,
he at? No.
when I'm not, girl, he coming. When I'm not with my husband, when he ain't with me somewhere, I don't feel like I'm covered. So I'll call him, you know, while I'm out or driving home or whatever. And then I just feel like I'm protected all over again. So I get it. I understand. I
Mm,
understand. Tell her again, baby. You see what he said? He said, your meekness is not weakness, just strength under control. And that's
okay, thank you, brother.
what it is. And she gonna get married. And Sister Jupiter, for you and your husband, y'all do continue to live in God's abundance and God's grace. And y'all continue to guide, lead, and protect those children as y'all supposed to. Y'all sound like y'all are a younger couple. So we're gonna be praying for y'all. I know you're getting ready to have this baby. So we're gonna send blessings and peace upon you during the rest of your pregnancy and delivery. And we're going to ask that God continue to cover you by the blood of Jesus Christ. Brother B. Moore, We appreciate you for joining us tonight and all of your perspective. I do admire you and your wives your wife being married for 40 years. I thank God for that. It is truly a blessing. And we should all strive to be married until death do us part, because that's what the word says. And I thank you for raising up your children the way that you did, the way that thus says the Lord said do. And my sister, she already know how I feel about her because I tell her every day. But you continue to do what you're doing in God's grace, and you continue raising your son like you're raising, and you continue to work with the dad of your ex-husband with your son, and y'all continue to grow that boy up like he's supposed to, and don't let him think for 1 second, because y'all ain't married, that he can fail at any time. He don't have that option. And to my husband, good night. Y'all, peace and blessings to y'all. Thank y'all for joining. Y'all make sure y'all hype this video up. Y'all have a good night. Thank everybody for joining.